Have you ever replayed the last thing your ex said before walking away? That one line, cold, sharp, final, echoing in your head at 2 a.m. No matter how much time passes, it claws at you. Maybe she said, "I just don't feel the same anymore." Maybe it was, "You're too much for me," or worse, she left without saying anything at all, and that silence became the loudest memory of your life. You gave her everything, your love, your loyalty, your time, and she still walked. And deep down, you've asked yourself the question every man asks, but few ever get answered. Why wasn't I enough? Here's the brutal truth no one dares to tell you. It was never about being enough. Women don't leave because of love alone. They leave because of something deeper, something every man must understand before it destroys him again. But listen carefully, because once you hear this,
you'll never look at women the same way again.
This isn't sweet advice. This is the raw, unfiltered reality. The secrets about female psychology that will cut through your confusion and expose the truth no one taught you. And before we go further, I want you to do something right now. Drop in the comments the last words your ex ever said to you. Confess it. Release it. Because until you face it, it will own you. If you've ever been betrayed, left without reason, or kept awake at night replaying conversations you wish you could change, this video was written for you. Stay with me. What you're about to hear will either break you or free you forever. Chapter 1. The Paradox of Attention. When James was in college in New York, he met Emily, a girl who seemed like a dream. She was beautiful, witty, magnetic. Every time she walked into the room, it felt like the air shifted. James thought the way to win her was to give her everything. He texted her every morning with lines like, "Good morning, beautiful. Hope you have a great day." He liked every single one of her posts on Instagram. He complimented her endlessly, her hair, her smile, her clothes, even the way she laughed. At first, Emily smiled and seemed to appreciate it. She even showed her friends in class the long messages James sent her. But slowly, something changed. His messages became predictable, almost robotic. His compliments, once flattering, started feeling routine. His constant presence, instead of making her feel special, began to suffocate her. James thought he was being the perfect gentleman, but inside Emily's mind, he was just becoming too available. This is the paradox every man needs to understand. Attention is like sugar, sweet in small doses, toxic in excess. A woman does not fall in love with a man who makes himself available every second of the day. She falls in love with the man whose attention feels earned. Think about it this way. In London, Daniel once bought Olivia an expensive designer bag for her birthday, even though they had only been dating a month. At first, she was shocked by his generosity, but very soon she felt pressure. The gift wasn't really about her. It was about him trying to prove his worth. The bag sat in her closet untouched, while Olivia's mind started to drift toward Michael, a man she hardly knew but who gave her short, playful glances at the gym. Why? Because Michael's attention was scarce. It was something she had to notice, something she had to chase. Psychologically, humans don't value what's freely given. We value what requires effort. It's why people line up outside Apple stores in Manchester to buy the latest iPhone. It's not just about the phone, it's about scarcity. About the feeling that not everyone can have it. Women respond to men the same way. If your time, your attention, and your energy are available without boundaries, it loses value. James learned this lesson the hard way. Emily stopped replying with enthusiasm. She canceled plans last minute. One day she told him, "You're a really nice guy, but I just don't feel the spark." For James, it was heartbreaking. He thought he had done everything right. But in reality, he had overfed her attention until it meant nothing. The paradox is simple yet brutal. The less you give away freely, the more she craves it. The moment you pull back, the moment your attention becomes selective, her mind begins to race. What's he doing? Who's he with? Why isn't he texting me? That's when attraction builds. This doesn't mean playing manipulative games. It means you must live a life so full, so purposeful, that your attention becomes naturally limited. In Toronto, Michael was so focused on building his business and improving his health that when he texted Sarah, it wasn't out of boredom, it was genuine, rare, and intentional. Sarah didn't take it for granted. She looked forward to every message because she knew it came from a man whose time was valuable. So remember this. Women don't want unlimited access to your attention. They want attention that feels like a reward. The paradox of attention is that the moment you stop giving it endlessly, you become the man she cannot stop thinking about. Chapter 2. Women respond to masculine energy, not pleasing behavior. Michael grew up in London. From a young age, his parents taught him to always be polite, always be respectful, always treat women like queens. On the surface, this sounds like good advice, and in many ways, respect is essential, but Michael misunderstood the deeper lesson. He became submissive, agreeable, and constantly tried to please women in every way possible. Whenever a girl wanted to go out, he paid for everything. Whenever she disagreed, he quickly apologized, even if he wasn't wrong. Whenever she tested his boundaries, he backed down. To his surprise, women liked him, but only as a friend. They laughed with him, leaned on him for emotional support. But when it came to attraction, they always chose someone else. Why? Because women are not drawn to men who act like servants. They are drawn to masculine energy, strength, leadership, direction, the ability to stand firm even when challenged. Let's take an example from Manchester. Sarah was dating Daniel, a man who never disagreed with her. If she wanted Italian food, he agreed. If she wanted to cancel plans last minute, he said, no problem. If she flirted with other guys at parties, he stayed quiet, too afraid to rock the boat. On the surface, Daniel was the perfect nice guy, but Sarah grew bored. She confessed to her friend Olivia one night, "He's too nice. I feel like I'm dating a doormat." At the same time, Sarah found herself drawn to James, a man who teased her playfully, who wasn't afraid to say no. "I don't feel like doing that tonight." When she tested him by trying to push his buttons, he didn't collapse, he stayed calm and steady. That energy made her feel excited, safe, and challenged all at once. This is the truth many men don't want to hear. Women test a man not because they hate him, but because they need to know if he is strong enough to lead, strong enough to handle pressure, strong enough to handle life. When you bend over backwards, when you become overly nice, you don't look strong, you look fragile. You look like a man trying to buy love instead of commanding respect. And women are not built to admire fragility. The stoic man, on the other hand, doesn't need a woman's approval to validate him. He doesn't crumble when she ignores his texts. He doesn't explode when she challenges him. He stays calm, centered, unshaken. He stands like a rock in a storm. That is masculine energy. This doesn't mean being rude or arrogant. True masculine energy is calm strength, not loud dominance. It's about self-control, not aggression. A man who leads himself, his emotions, his mission, his decisions, naturally radiates the energy women crave. Michael eventually learned this. He stopped over-apologizing. He stopped trying to prove his worth with gifts and constant approval. Instead, he built confidence through action, fitness, career, purpose. And when he started saying no when he meant it, when he started standing firm instead of folding, women began to respect him. Women don't fall in love with the man who pleases them. They fall in love with the man who grounds them, excites them, and makes them feel safe in his strength. That's why women respond to masculine energy, not pleasing behavior. Chapter 3. Women don't fall in love the way men do. Men fall fast. We see beauty, curves, eyes, a smile, and attraction strikes like lightning. It's immediate, almost primal. A man can see Olivia walking down the street in Los Angeles and instantly feel the urge to know her, to chase her, to imagine a life with her. But women, they are different. They don't fall in love through sight alone. Their attraction is layered, slow-burning, psychological. It's not a spark, it's a fire built over time. Take Olivia again. At first, she wasn't even attracted to Daniel. He wasn't the best-looking guy in her social circle. He didn't have the flashiest clothes or the most expensive car. But over time, she began to notice things. How he carried himself with confidence in every room. How other men respected him. How he spoke with authority but never arrogance. She noticed how he teased her without fear. How he didn't try too hard to win her. And how he had a life of his own outside of her. Suddenly something shifted. Olivia found herself thinking about him at night. Replaying his jokes, his smile, his calmness. The attraction grew slowly. But once it rooted itself, it became powerful. This is the secret most men don't realize. Women don't fall in love through appearance alone. They fall in love through experience. Through the way a man makes them feel in his presence. That's why you've seen average-looking men in New York walking with stunning women, while handsome men remain single. The difference isn't money or looks, it's presence. A man who can make a woman feel safe, excited, curious, and emotionally alive will always win over a man who only offers good looks. Let's take another example. Sarah from Manchester once dated Michael, a tall, handsome guy with model-like features. At first she was impressed, but quickly she realized he was shallow. He had nothing to say, no ambition, no direction. His beauty faded in her eyes. Then she met James, a man who wasn't as conventionally attractive, but carried himself with a quiet strength. He was ambitious, disciplined, and had a sense of humor that kept her on her toes. Sarah later admitted to her friends, "Michael looked good, but James made me feel good." That's the core. Men chase beauty, women chase feeling. So if you want a woman to fall in love, don't obsess over looks alone. Build yourself into the man who creates emotions. Be the man who inspires curiosity, respect, excitement. A woman might notice your face, but she falls in love with your energy. Chapter 4. The Test of Indifference. Every man knows the fear. She starts pulling away. Her texts slow down. Her replies are shorter. She cancels plans with excuses that don't make sense. And in that moment, panic sets in. You think, what did I do wrong? How do I win her back? Should I send flowers? Should I chase harder? But here's the truth. This moment is not a sign to panic. It's a test. Daniel from Manchester once told his story. His girlfriend, Sarah, began acting distant. She started posting pictures at parties without him, ignoring his calls, and when he asked if something was wrong, she brushed him off. Most men would crumble in this moment. They would chase harder, beg for attention, maybe even get angry. But Daniel did something different. He pulled back. He didn't beg. He didn't chase. He stayed calm. He focused on his work, his gym routine, his friends. When Sarah noticed his indifference, she panicked. Her texts came faster. Her tone became warmer. She started asking him questions like, "Are you upset with me? Why haven't you called?" This is the power of indifference. It shows strength. It shows that you are not desperate, that you are not controlled by her emotions. Indifference doesn't mean you don't care, it means you have control. You control your reactions, your emotions, your energy. You don't hand them away cheaply. In London, Michael faced the same thing. His girlfriend Olivia told him she needed space. Instead of pleading, he calmly replied, "Take all the space you need." Days later, she came back, confused and intrigued. Why? Because his response showed he valued himself. He wasn't afraid of losing her. He wasn't desperate. He was strong enough to walk away. And here's the deeper truth. Women respect men who can detach. They admire men who don't crumble under pressure. When you stay calm in her storm, she sees you as unshakable. And that's exactly what women crave. Stability in the chaos. So the next time she pulls away, remember it's not the end. It's a test. And your indifference, calm, stoic, controlled, will speak louder than any desperate words you could ever say. Chapter 5. The Hidden Power of Mystery. Let me tell you something that will change the way you see attraction forever. Women are addicted to mystery. Think about it. What excites people the most? It's not the things they already know. It's the things they can't quite figure out. That's why people in New York binge entire TV shows overnight. Why people line up for book releases in London. Why audiences pay to see a magician in Sydney. They want the unknown, the unexpected, the unanswered. Women are the same. They are drawn not to the man who lays everything out at once, but to the man who reveals himself slowly, like chapters in a novel. Sophia in Sydney once confessed to her friend, "I can't stop thinking about James. He doesn't post much on Instagram. He doesn't overshare, but when we talk, I feel like there's so much more to him that I haven't discovered." That keeps me hooked. Mystery is not about lying. It's not about manipulation. It's about being selective. It's about letting her earn pieces of you over time. When you tell her your entire life story on the first date, when you express all your feelings too quickly, you remove the mystery. She knows everything already and her curiosity dies. But when you hold back, when you let her wonder what you're thinking, when you reveal yourself layer by layer, you become unforgettable. She starts replaying conversations in her head, analyzing your words, obsessing over what you might mean. You live rent-free in her mind. Look at Daniel from Toronto. When he started dating Olivia, he didn't flood her with constant updates about his life. Instead, he stayed focused on his goals. He spoke with depth but never revealed everything at once. Olivia admitted later, "He made me feel like I wanted to know more. Every time I thought I had him figured out, he surprised me." Mystery keeps the fire burning. It makes her chase. It keeps her thinking. And when a woman is thinking about you when you're not around, you've already won. So remember, The man who reveals everything loses power. The man who masters mystery becomes unforgettable. Chapter 6: The Silent Test of Power. You'll never forget the first time a woman tested your silence. Imagine this. James from London had been dating Emily for 6 months. Things were good until suddenly one night she went quiet. No reply to his messages. No calls back. Just silence. And in that silence, James lost his mind. He double-texted, triple-texted, called late into the night. His thoughts raced. What did I do wrong? Is she with someone else? His emotions controlled him like a puppet. And that's exactly what Emily wanted to see. Because here's the truth. Women don't always test you with words. Sometimes the most powerful test is silence. They withdraw not because they're gone, but because they want to see what you'll do when left alone with your own thoughts. Will you remain calm, centered, stoic, or will you crumble and chase? This is what I call the silent test of power. Every woman, whether she admits it or not, wants to know if the man she's with can survive the storm of her absence. She wants to see if his frame is strong enough to stand when nothing makes sense. And if you think this is about manipulation, you're missing the point. It's about instinct. Women are drawn to strength, not weakness. To certainty, not panic. Think about Marcus Aurelius. He said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." When a woman goes silent, she is the outside event. You cannot control it, but you can control how you respond. Daniel from New York once told me how his girlfriend, Sarah, disappeared for 2 days after an argument. He nearly lost it, wanted to drive to her apartment, bang on her door, demand answers. But instead, he did something different. He waited. He stayed calm, went to the gym, kept his routine. 2 days later, Sarah came back, not only apologizing but respecting him more than ever. Why? Because he passed the test. He didn't let silence break him. He showed her that his world doesn't collapse when she steps away. The truth is this: silence is not punishment, it's an invitation. An invitation to prove your inner strength. Most men fail because they react. They get desperate, emotional, needy. But the man who remains composed shows he is built on stone, not sand. And women feel this. Olivia in Manchester once admitted to her friends, "When I ignored Michael's messages, I wanted to see if he would fall apart. But when he didn't, when he stayed calm, it made me want him even more." That is the power of restraint. That is the silent test. So the next time she withdraws, don't panic. Don't chase. Don't collapse into insecurity. Instead, see it for what it is, a test of your power. And remember, the man who keeps his composure when silence surrounds him is the man who earns respect, attraction, and trust. Chapter 7: The Dangerous Edge of Comfort. Now let's talk about something far more dangerous than silence: comfort. Michael from Toronto once thought he had it all. A steady girlfriend, a cozy apartment, weekends spent binging Netflix with Olivia. At first it felt safe, but slowly something changed. The fire went out. The tension disappeared. And one day, out of nowhere, Olivia said, "I don't know what happened, but I just don't feel it anymore." This is the silent killer of relationships, the dangerous edge of comfort. See, women are drawn to men who challenge them, who inspire them, who keep the mystery alive. But when you get too comfortable, too predictable, too easy, you kill attraction without even realizing it. A man who stops growing, stops leading, stops challenging her, becomes invisible in her eyes. Why do so many women in cities like Los Angeles or London leave relationships after 2 or 3 years with the same line, "I love you, but I'm not in love with you"? It's because the man she once admired became ordinary. He stopped sharpening his edge. He let comfort replace growth. Stoicism teaches us to embrace discomfort because it is in discomfort that growth is born. Epictetus said, "Difficulties show what men are." Women instinctively understand this. They don't want a man who hides in comfort. They want a man who thrives in challenge. Think about James in Sydney. For years, he stayed in a safe banking job. His girlfriend Emily admired his stability, but she grew restless. She wanted to see him chase something bigger. One day she confessed, "I just don't feel inspired anymore." It broke James, but instead of collapsing, he changed. He started his own business, pushed himself beyond comfort, and grew into a stronger man. The result? Emily came back, not because he begged, but because his edge returned. Comfort is seductive. It feels safe, but it kills desire. Women crave a man who can sit with her on a Sunday morning, Yes, but also a man who has battles to fight, goals to chase, a fire that won't die out, a man who balances presence with ambition. This is why some women stay with men who are dangerous or unpredictable, not because they love drama, but because unpredictability feels alive. They want to feel the energy of a man who is never fully conquered, never fully settled. So here's the lesson. Never let comfort dull your edge. Stay disciplined, stay ambitious, stay mysterious. Keep your world bigger than her, and she will stay drawn to you forever. Because the moment you become ordinary, she begins to dream of someone extraordinary. And the truth is brutal. She won't tell you when that moment arrives. You'll only see it when she starts pulling away. Conclusion. So here's the truth, the one no one tells young men. Women don't want your endless attention. They want your rare earned attention. They don't want your worship, they want your strength. They don't fall in love with your looks, they fall in love with how you make them feel. They don't stay with a man they don't respect. And above all, they don't follow a man who doesn't lead himself. These are the secrets every man needs to hear. They're not tricks. They're not manipulation. They're principles of life grounded in psychology, proven through experience, echoed by Stoic philosophy. The moment you stop begging for love and start embodying strength, women will treat you differently. You will treat yourself differently, and the world will open in ways you never imagined. So ask yourself, are you living as the man who chases or the man who commands? With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.